channel is Christina at Homeschool and Grace, and today's video is a review of 1850 to Modern Times from My Father's World. We really enjoyed this curriculum, and I'm excited to share with you what we did this year, what we didn't do, what we liked, what we didn't like, and all that jazz. So I have curriculum all around me. I've been hesitant to share this video because I feel like we're getting started with the new school year, and I've kind of missed that window where people were finishing and want the review, but I think this can be helpful for the future if you are considering using this curriculum, what we thought of it. And this is the last cycle, or the last year of the family cycle from My Father's World. So it starts with exploring countries and cultures and goes all the way to 1850 to modern times. So when I used this curriculum, I was teaching 3 in this family cycle. So I had a 2nd grader, a 4th grader, and a 7th grader at the time. And so I'm going to go through, this will be everything from My Father's World, and I will be going through their individual stuff along with the group subjects, what we got done again and what we didn't get done. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm actually going to look through what's added, because I feel like I'm going to forget to talk about things. It's a little bit cloudier here today, and I feel like my nose is itchy from it. Okay, so for Bible, we're going to start out with Bible. I have several things for that. So the first one we used was A Young Person's Guide to Knowing God. This is based off of the Apostles' Creed, I believe. Wait a second. Yes, the Apostles' Creed. And it's by Patricia St. John. I really like this book. I thought it was very applicable for the girls and for myself as I taught it, well, as we used it. And there was good questions to sit and ponder at the end of each one, and a prayer, and just questions to think on. And so I really appreciated that, and I really like this book this year. Okay, we also did Then Sings My Soul. This is our 2nd or 3rd year using this book, and I really like this one as well. So it's hymns on one side and then the story of the hymn on the other, and then we'd always look for a song on YouTube to listen to that hymn and then be able to sing along to it. So I really like this one. It was something that was used once every 2 weeks, but it's a great addition. Okay, another book we used was Tales of Persia. Now, this is about a missionary who, and his stories from when he was in Persia, which is now modern day, I want to say Iraq. But let me double check. Maybe Iran. I think Iran. And ministering to the Muslims, and just, it was a really great book. We really liked this one. The girls really liked it. It had some really interesting stories, and I always think it's good to read missionary stories. I remember my dad reading to me missionary stories, so I always like that. Okay, we also did In God We Trust at times. Now, this wasn't scheduled very often, maybe once a week, if even that. This is more just based on stories of faith in American history, and so it was just those in America, obviously. And so it would be a story with some facts in between the stories. Another book that I don't have up here, I'm not sure where I put it, but Trial and Triumph. We really like that book, which also is stories, people of the faith, of missionaries and martyrs of old, and just their stories, and it's really well done. We really like that one as well. Okay, so we liked a lot of the Bible this year and got a lot out of it. Okay, for history, they started out learning the states and capitals. Again, I don't have that up here. There's a whole map and a CD that comes along with it to memorize the states and capital songs. We really liked it for the state songs, and they did really well learning the states. The capitals we just did not do this year. I had talked to my husband. He's like, it's okay. They don't need to know their capitals. So we just decided to drop that. So we did, though, the states. and that was really good. There came with like flashcards that was from the curriculum, the student sheets, and so that I'm looking around, I'm trying to realize like, where did I put this stuff? Because we did use it, but now I'm not sure where I had like tucked them away, because we're pretty much done with this year. Okay, we also, and really quick, before I forget. So we didn't end up finishing this curriculum. We got to week 28 of like the history curriculum and Bible. They did do more for like math and writing and reading, but for the core of My Father's World, we got to week 28. We tried to push it to week 30, but too much stuff started happening for summer, and it was like, we couldn't get any farther. So that's as far as we got with our teacher's manual here, with those Bible and history and so on. Okay, so let me continue on history. Okay, we also used, spread all over, so I'm not going to keep track. Okay, Story of the World. We really like Story of the World, and it came with the activity book. So I took mine apart. I don't know if you can see that. So there's a bunch of pages missing, and I put them in a binder. All the like pages for coloring and to make copies of, because it was too big of a pain to try and copy from the book. And so these went really well together. I like this because it has a lot of questions to ask and other books we can reference, and game ideas and craft ideas. So I liked when we could incorporate it, we did. But of course, we did really enjoy reading from the Story of the World. We typically were doing kind of like a morning basket idea where we did Bible in the morning, and then we did history as a group. Even with my youngest ones, they don't recommend it, but it was never anything that my kids felt fearful of while reading the stories. And really the little ones, I don't feel like they ingested, that much of the stories. It was more just like, this is kind of what we do. We all sit together and do this. So that's what we did for that. Okay, the American, I don't have it up here either. The American History, a Visual Encyclopedia. My oldest loves that book and references it a lot. She just likes looking at encyclopedias. I know that is not every kid. She may be my only one who likes to sit and look at encyclopedias, but she does. So that is down in her room because she likes to sit and look at it. Oh, America's Favorite Patriotic Songs. Again, I don't have it up here. We did listen to that at times, but because of my health this last year, we had to kind of got left upstairs, and we didn't do it as often as I would have liked. Okay, we also used, the U.S. History Cookbook. This is a really cute book with like funny little stories and then recipes. I did find, like, after doing all the other history reading for that day, once getting to this book, at the end of the day, they were kind of burnt out of just sitting and listening after reading, like, Story of the World, and if we had to read an excerpt from the American History book, or this one, Exploring American History, this kind of started to just fall off because they just were getting bored with it, and I never felt like I had the ingredients for the recipes like I would have liked. If I was better prepared, I would have looked ahead of time and actually went and bought the ingredients to make this stuff, but I never did. And so we'd sometimes read it and sometimes not, but eventually it just kind of fell off for us. Okay, our other history book, Exploring American History. This is another good, kind of like a textbook. It's in chapter form and stories of, well, American history. And I like that at the end there's typically questions, comprehensive questions, and a lot of little side note facts. And so that always made it interesting. This is from Christian Liberty Press, but we really like this one as well. Well, I really like it. They liked it as well. At least my oldest, she always really likes history. Okay, another book I forgot. I didn't bring up. I think it actually is in my daughter's room as well. So The Last 500 Years, which is a Usborne book, I believe. That one's really neat because it has links to Usborne links for more videos on that timeline, or or little facts and stuff on the website. And then it was just like a nice quick blurb of like what you just read about. So kind of reinforce what they just learned about. We like that book. My oldest, again, really likes it. It's down in her room with the encyclopedia because she really likes history. Okay, we also did... Now this goes back with the president's pages. They all did their president pages. Some of them just drew pictures of the presidents. There you go. We just taped it on the side. Each kid, I changed up how much had to be written. So like my oldest had to write everything from the back of the cards, where my youngest only had to write like 2 things, and so on. So, and then my 4th grader had to write 4 or 5 things. So it just depended on how old you were, how I did that. But we definitely did that. We added into it the president's book. This didn't come with the curriculum, but we really like to add this in and this in to get a real sense of who that president was. And then here are the president cards that didn't get used yet because we didn't get it all done. Okay, so we're gonna hop back up to science. Okay, so my oldest, who was in 7th grade, was to do science in the atomic age that I ordered, but we ended up not using this because she did a marine biology class at her co-op, and so that took place as science, and so this she ended up not doing this year. This was technically only scheduled for my 4th grader, not my 2nd grader. I added my 2nd grader in to do it with her. We really enjoyed this at the beginning, but we petered out by the end of the year, and even probably midway. It was scheduled about 3 to 4 days a week, we found. And it was just hard for us to get it in with doing the reading and then the experiments that came along with it, and making sure I had all the parts so that we could do the experiment. We did it as best we could, but it definitely fell off. One last part of science this year was the Snap Circuit Junior. Actually, I think I had also the magnets. So this was fun to do. My 2nd grader actually really loved doing this and still loves doing this. And so I was doing it with her, and then eventually they just kind of started doing it on their own, which was fun for them to just get to explore and do it alone. So this was fun with magnets. I actually have 2 sets of this. So my kids liked doing this for the most part. I think they got kind of bored with it pretty quick because they just... some of them are really simple, and I wasn't very good about just letting them kind of free play with it. I think if I would have just let them sit and play with the magnets, it would have been more fun. But I was trying to be more, have more structure, and I think it made it kind of boring for them. So if you get this, it might be fun just to let your kids sit and play with it and not try and make it really let's focus on this, unless they're really interested in that. But if they can just play with it and see how the magnets work, I think they would have enjoyed that more than what I was doing. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that was science. Okay, for the read alouds. So I'll share with you which ones we got read and which ones we did not get read this year. Get read. Okay, we read Courage to Run. This was a favorite of everyone's. This was a really great book of a story of Harriet Tubman as a little girl. We really like this one. Okay, my other book is downstairs. Across 5 Aprils is a story about the Civil War. It starts out a little slow. We tried to listen to it on audio book, but the accents with the southern accents made it difficult to understand. So I ended up just reading it, and they ended up liking it much better than listening to it on audiobook. And I really liked it. I thought it gave a really great picture of what life was like during the Civil War. And one part that stood out to me is that the mom really needed coffee. Otherwise she'd get these horrible, probably migraines. They just said headaches, but debilitating. And I was like, I feel like moms are still struggling with that today. And so the son went into town just to get the coffee for mom. It was really sweet. Oh yeah, we're we still have these same issues today. Okay, we also read Hudson Taylor. This is a great book. I really like these Christian heroes then and now. This is a great one to read. Another one I don't have up here is Sergeant York. It started out really great. We really enjoyed it, and learning about the history of he lived in the Appalachian Mountains and just his whole background, we just found so fascinating. But then once we got to the war, it got a little tedious more reading it, but we did push through and we finished it. And so that was on World War I. So that was really great. We did not, unfortunately, get to Corrie ten Boom. I was totally bummed about. I would have loved to have read this. And we also did not read Brother Andrew. These two we didn't get to at the end of the year. But we got all those other ones read. Okay. Let's see here. But we did also read, because we had the 2nd and 3rd grade supplement. So we did read Farmer Boy. And On the Banks of Plum Creek was scheduled, but we weren't. My oldest didn't want to read it again because she had already heard it. And then my other ones did or didn't. And so we ended up reading The Longest Winter, which is a really great one as well. We ended up reading that instead of On the Banks of Plum Creek. We also read Stone Fox. This is a great book and made me cry, and it's just a little skinny one, but it was really good. Okay, we also read In Grandma's Attic. These ones are always super fun and just fun stories that my girls really enjoyed. We actually have the other ones and we haven't read them yet. I'm like, we gotta read those. Okay, so with that, we read A Letter to Mrs. Roosevelt. This was also a really fun one, and just really neat time period, and just neat what she did for those kids. Okay, we're reading right now. We're finishing up Charlotte's Web. This is our copy. It's really well loved. So we're almost finished with this, and then we're going to watch the movie the girls are excited about. It's been a fun summer read, when we have the time to get it done. Okay, the ones we didn't get to, unfortunately, were Encyclopedia Brown and Ivan and the Informer. And I'm really hoping to still read these this following year because they're pretty short. We can get through these quickly. So that is my goal because we didn't get to those ones. I always feel like we have a couple read alouds that we just don't get to, and it always nags at me. Okay, so those were the read alouds. Okay, so I'm going to pop back up to, let's see here. Okay, the music and art, there was stories of Foster and Sousa, the best of George Gershwin, Sousa to Sachemo. One of these was a video, and we watched most of it, which I thought was pretty interesting. And it was they brought kids in to watch all these different music performances based, I think it was all from the United States, but different time frames and different styles. So that was pretty cool. And then God in the History of Art, we tried and failed miserably getting that done. So it is shelved right now. But as you can see, I don't know if you can see up here, we love the cards. We hang them up and look at them and stuff like that. And there's one over here behind me. I like to sit and look at them. Which maybe I'll go back through and do just a Charlotte Mason approach to these, and where you just look at them and then discuss what we see and then find my own information on those. Look through the books for the information on those artists. That might be fun to do. And simple. Okay. I think that was that. Okay, so to go back to their more individual stuff. So for my second grader, for her language arts, we did language lessons for today. This is my well-loved book. We just always really liked this. And it's just really, it's very much of a Charlotte Mason approach. Very simple. And we really liked this for that. She was supposed to, being in second grade, do spelling by sound and structure, but I didn't feel like she's ready for this yet. So I actually had my fourth grader do it, who I had do it in second grade, but she wasn't ready for it either, and she did much better with it this year. So if your child doesn't seem ready for this, I highly recommend just putting it away and just give it a couple years and then pull it back out, and it works much better. So that's what we did, and I felt like we had great success this year with it. For my 4th grader. Okay, so back to my 2nd grader. She ended up not doing any spelling this year. We just worked on language lessons. She also did U.S. Facts and Fun, this Evan Moore book. She really enjoyed doing this one. Lots of fun stuff. Great for like practicing writing and just getting to color. It was just a fun book, like finding things, listening. It really helped with that comprehension of like, I'd read her a story and then she had to remember from it. And so even myself learning how to help her to remember it, because I found I couldn't just read the whole thing, the passage. She needed it more in bite-sized chunks in order to remember. And then having her repeat after me when I'd say, okay, so this is how many trees were in this forest. How many trees were in that forest? Okay, and then she'd answer, and then it helped with better comprehension. Okay, American Pioneers and Patriots. We have used this for many 2nd graders here. It's just fun little stories of children from early Pioneers and Patriots time. So this is a fun one. Again, I like the little comprehensive questions, and the pictures are really sweet, and it's just kind of a neat book and great add-on. See the USA, a trip through the Nifty 50. We ended up trying to use this, but again, I felt like this was above her grade level and what she could do. So we kept trying, but like it just was too much, I think, for her. I really like their map of the United States, but I ended up finding I needed to do a lot of the writing for her, and it was not, she just didn't really quite understand it. So we didn't use that as much as I would have liked. Okay, moving on to my, who is this? My 4th grader. Okay, we used language lessons for today again. She did really great this year with it. I saw a lot of improvement with her writing and just stamina for doing lessons in it. So that was really great to see. We started doing writing skills, and then I ended up just stopping it. I just felt like it was too much for her right now. She was doing spelling by sound and structure, like I said, and so we ended up just putting this to the side, and I'm going to try again this year. We'll pull it out again and try again for writing skills and see how she does. Okay. And as you can see, I'm not sharing a math because we use a different math, so that would be a different video. So spelling power is recommended for my 7th grader, but we ended up not doing spelling at all for her. I thought about it, and then I think she's fine, so we just skipped spelling power, but we have it still for those to come. Okay, so these were also recommended, or part of it, these Progeny Press. She was to do 2 of them, but she ended up taking a class at our co-op that was a literature class where she ended up doing these, but to different books. She read Uncle Tom's Cabin, Screw Tape Letters, what was it? It's a French book, The Scarlet Pimpernel. She read that book. She read Pride and Prejudice. I think that was it. There might have been some others in there. I can't remember. So she ended up using a Progeny Press, or a couple of them, for those books. And then she did a lot of writing for that because she had essays. For some of them, she had essays like every week due. For some of them, it was like at the end of the year or end of the book or like midway. So we hung on to these, but she did not end up using those. This is all I have left of applications of grammar. She completed this book. Here's a picture of her holding the book and being completed. She did not enjoy this book, this grammar, unfortunately. But she persevered and she did finish it. So if your kid really doesn't like it, like, here is a kid who finished it. So like, it can be done. I'm just showing you the table of contents. It's not very interesting. But anyway, it was not a favorite. Some of it I wish we would have done, to be honest. Easy grammar first. Now this my friend gave me, but I saw it on the website for My Father's World. This one I think breaks it down easier. I think she might have benefited if we did this first and then did applications of grammar. But you just don't know when you're picking the stuff and what will be best. This is a well-loved old version, but it works still. So I started having her use this some during the summer, easy grammar. But we didn't get that far, but I think I'll have her continue doing this through the new school year. And you may see she's going into high school. We let her skip 8th grade. I mean, skip, kind of, sort of. Because she did so much work this year through the co-op and just personally that we just felt she could go on to the next grade. Okay, I have one more book to share. It's on the bottom of my pile. Okay. Writing with Skill. She got probably about halfway through this book. So whenever she had a paper due from her co-op, an essay to write based on the literature, I did not make her do Writing with Skills. But I didn't make her do it whenever she didn't have an assignment due. I really like this writing program. I felt like the teacher's manual really helps explain what's expected of them and really helped not just like give her the answer. It really helped for me to ask questions so that she could think on her own to find the answers that was needed for the, whatever she was working on. And then doing her essays and helping me to grade them because it really showed like, okay, this needs to be here and this, and like showing them the progression of a lot of them. So I really like this one. Okay, let's see here. Did I get everything? There were some wall maps. I don't think you need a review of those. I think that was it. So this year, we had a lot of setbacks with my health and everything, but I feel like we still got a lot accomplished. And I'm really proud of my girls. I really saw a lot of improvement this year in just buckling down and really working hard. And they just did really great. And I'm really excited for this next school year. But I really hope that this video was helpful for you for 1850 to modern times if you're going to be teaching this. It was really laid out well. I mean, it's just like all the others. We love Story of the World. It wasn't like anything new. I don't know. If you stay on the path, you know what you're getting. So it felt that same way. And we just really, really enjoyed it. And I felt like they learned a lot this year. And we read a lot of great books and did a lot of Bible study together. And it was just a really sweet time. So that is it for 1850 to modern times. I'm so looking forward to next year and teaching. We're going to come back through the family cycle, exploring countries and cultures again. So be looking out for those videos. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And I hope to see you at the next video. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.